The man who moves a mountain starts by only moving a few small stones. Confucius said that. And today we're going to be moving a few small stones that's going to help you move that broader mountain, right? So we're going to talk about physical and psychological support and resistance levels. So for physical, you see we got our guy over here is lifting something heavy. And then we got for psychological, we have our brain, right? So whenever we're looking at physical, this has to do with more of like the candles, right? And how the candlesticks are printing. So let's talk about a general support and resistance. So we're going to talk about, let's first of all go ahead and remove this. Let's first talk about, typically you've heard of this before. You have support, you have resistance, you have supply. Let's actually change the color of this now. And we got our supply. And then we have our demand, right? So supply ties into resistance and demand ties into support. So whenever you're looking at support and resistance, this has more to do with a levels which, when you talk about support and resistance, it has more to do with levels which are a little bit more refined. So let's say if you got some candlesticks starting to come down like this, because there's a form of resistance that we've hit. And now as candlesticks are starting to pull down, we end up creating some kind of a support. Now, since we created a support, next candlestick closes, bearish over here, and then the next candlestick ends up breaking above said resistance right over here. So now that's what we're going to be looking at as a resistance, right? And this is what we're going to be looking at as a support. So these levels are a little bit more refined because sometimes you could be waiting for a candlestick to either break above resistance, break the previous candle highs, and then continue to move upwards bullish, or you could be waiting for a candlestick to break below a certain support level, such as this, to continue to move down bearish, right? So it's definitely a lot more refined. So now when we start to look at something a little bit more like a supply and a demand, you can see that price comes to a key level like this, kind of like what gold has been doing today. And it starts to have a reaction off a broader level like this and a broader level like this. So it's not as refined. So this now becomes your demand zone. And stick with this video because it will get a lot more interesting, because I know some of you might think that, oh, you know some of this already here. So we're going to get quite deep into these levels of a supply and demand. Or support and resistance, physical and psychological, that you might have not known. That's going to give you actually an edge next time that you're going to be on the charts. So here we have the supply zone, which is, you know, typically something like this could be, this is a supply, this is a demand. That could be something like maybe on the 4-hour, the daily time frame. These are usually more on the higher time frames. And when it comes to the support or resistance that we just spoke about, those are typically happening on the lower time frames. You know, you're going to be on the 5-minute, maybe the 15-minute, maybe the 30-minute time frame, because you can refine a little bit better with these. When you go on the 1-minute time frame, funny enough, you can't be refined on the 1 minute, because on the 1 minute, you kind of want to look at it as a broader structure, because there could be a lot of false signals on the 1 minute time frame. So when you're looking at support resistance, that's kind of the sweet spot you're looking for in between, you know, maybe the 5-minute all the way towards possibly the hourly time frame. As well. So you can possibly also go ahead and look at the 1 hour time frame. So it's quite important, because when you mix and match both of them, you could be getting entry confirmations, let's say at a supply zone. If candlesticks create some kind of a support and you get your confirmation break above some kind of a resistance, so you know you're both at a demand and you're breaking a resistance which is more refined for price to continue to move up towards that next supply zone. So let's go ahead and maybe look at a psychological one now. So with the psychological, we can have a go at a round numbers. So when it comes to psychological, most of the time, people like round numbers. So these round numbers could look like, you know, you got $3,000, you got $4,000. nice round numbers, you know, maybe $4,500. And then at the same time, we also like to see clean numbers. So when it comes to clean numbers, we can say maybe something like 3,250. You can say something like 4,000, what we could say 190. You know, just clean numbers to see where exactly like is price trading, and is it next to any, you know, supply zone or any resistance zone. So that's also one thing that institutional traders know, that also us retail traders, same as institutional traders, we love these raw numbers. Like for example, on gold right now, we are actually expecting price to head to 4,000. This is gonna be a magnet here, 4,400 at the all-time highs. That's our target. That's an institutional target as well. So that's the number like we're in striking distance of on gold, and we're anticipating price to continue moving in that direction. So always have a look out for psychological numbers to see where price is trading, because those zones, they're gonna act like magnets in the chart. So if you take a buy or a sell, it's gonna be like a magnet. Now, let's go ahead and see one of my favorite here. We're gonna call this the high volume areas. Now, high volume areas are quite interesting. It's a small mix also between physical and a psychological, because for example, we trade the consolidation breakouts, right? So that's creating the physical nature of this structure. So as price breaks through that structure, we have a physical break that's currently happening right now. But whenever price breaks like a high volume area like this, it's typically also attracted back to that level to see if there's any selling pressure that's gonna be around here. Because, you know, if we got a lot of sellers coming into the market, and let's say there was not enough sellers to keep moving price down bearish, it's gonna come back up to that zone, or that's what the market psychology part is now. So we're tying in the physical and the psychological. It's gonna come back up to that level to see if there's any more willing sellers in the market, you know? So if you got like a Joshua over here who took a big sell and he moved the market, but there was not enough sellers to keep pushing price down, the market's job is to go back up here to that previous zone where there was selling pressure to see if it can get some more orders to continue to move down towards the downside. And if it can't get enough orders, typically what can also sometimes happen is a fake out, and price will be coming for these highs over here, potentially taking out some stop losses. And yeah, this is something you want to keep in mind, is high volume areas. Also because the market doesn't typically like to leave people in profits all the time. And it could be a reason as to why you're finding your trades getting stopped out at break even a lot, is because it's coming back to these high volume areas to see if there's any more selling pressure in the market. So that leads me to our next psychological support and resistance, which is going to have to do a lot with your strategy. So we're looking at questions like, when do I BE? You know, when do I TP? When do I, or how do I set my stop loss? So this is a psychological way to place on the charts. You can use physical structure like a resistance if you're looking for a sell. So if price is coming down and then you put your stop loss above a resistance, you know, awesome. Now you're using a physical resistance, which is a bit more refined to put a stop loss on, especially if you want a tighter stop loss, you need to be a lot more refined. But let's say a lot of the time it's like maybe there's not structure and you want a tight stop loss. What you'll tend to see happen is if markets are consolidating like this, correct, and they start to break, you have to look at your strategy and see how far does my strategy typically push whenever I get like an entry confirmation. Because, you know, some strategies, they're gonna have a reaction of, let's say like 16 pips. After I push a 16 pips, maybe 20 pips. So that's gonna kind of guide you. How do I set my stop loss, right? So if you're, let's say, trading, for me personally, what I do is I like to trade 16 pips during the pre-London time. So I'm gonna have a 16 pip stop loss and a 16 pip take profit, right? Because I know whenever we hit around 16 pips, that's when my strategy could have a reaction, right? It could push down, hit TP here. So that's gonna be TP at about 16 pips and then have a reaction. So that's why I'll be setting my take profit point, and my stop loss would be 16 pips, because if I had a 16 pip stop loss, I know even if there's no structure, that price can come and test maybe like 15 pips or 14 pips, just giving it enough room for it to move in my direction. Because I would say I've seen this happen over and over and over again. This is how strong that it pulls back during this time, and this is how far that it pushes when I'm looking for that take profit, right? So for a session, let's say like the London session. So for the London session, we're looking at a TP of around 20 points. And then we're looking at an SL of around 20 points as well. So a little bit of like a one-to-one situation. Now the reason the reason why this is so important is because this can also change, right? So in the beginning of the year over here, my 16 pip used to be 18 pips. But I started realizing the market's shifted. Now we're seeing more 16 pips. Remember, this is all psychological. So you're gonna see it happen on the charts like over and over and over again. So you have to be very detail oriented when it comes to trading, and especially like executing on your plays. So you're gonna see in a situation like this, 18 pips was no longer reaching, right? So in the beginning of the year, we started reducing it down to like, about 16 points. And that was really good, because now that meant I could secure something. Every time price went in my direction, I could secure something instead of having it come back to break even. And now for 20 pips, since we've had so much volume this year on gold, we've been seeing a lot of like 30 pips. We've been seeing so much of 30 pips, but now as we're heading towards the end of the year, we're seeing profit taking, we're waiting for all that data from the government shutdown to come out. We've seen a slight reduction of volume. There's still good volume, but when it comes to the entries themselves, we're seeing a small reduction of volume towards like hitting our targets. So we've reduced that by 10 points to be on the safe side, because in trading, it's always better to under-analyze than to over-analyze. So instead of 30 points, we're looking at about 20 points so we can secure something, right? And if the trade runs, then it runs. That's gonna be like a bonus profit. But most of the time, we wanna at least have some money in the bank. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about now we have next SMAs and the daily 0.40% level. So with our SMAs, those also act as a form of psychological support or resistance. So whenever you have the SMA's mouth facing downwards, so let's say in this case, we're typically going to be using the 8 SMA and the 50 SMA. Whenever the mouth is facing down like this, and you're going to get some kind of a crossover right over here. So that's going to be a psychological level, because what most of the time you're going to end up seeing is candlesticks are going to respect those SMAs. We kind of call the 8 SMA, for example, the bully SMA. So as candles are coming down, they're going to be having a hard time, because the SMA is going to be forcing price to continue to move down bearish. So it acts as a form of like a psychological resistance in this case, right? So we love to use the SMAs that we have. Usually if the mouth looks like that, it's going to be bearish. If the crossover looks something like this and price action is moving up, so the mouth is facing upwards, it's going to be bullish. And sometimes also you're just going to have the SMAs, for example, be in a situation where markets are just moving sideways. So you might have an SMA above here, or you might have another SMA somewhere like this, but it also sort of indicates to you that markets are moving sideways, so you don't really have too much confidence. So typically what happens, price will keep printing, and as price is printing, eventually you're gonna see maybe price go downwards, and then the SMAs will kind of come to assist with that move towards the downside, right? So that's if you're gonna be using the 50 and the 8 simple moving average. Now another one I like to use, which is a psychological sort of support resistance, is going to be 0.40%, which we have a free indicator in the description box. If you want to get that free indicator, it's going to let you know when the market structure is trending, whether it's going to be moving up, whether it's going to be moving down, and it's going to be based off of this mark right over here. So if you have price up 0.40% or down 0.40%, typically what you'll see in the market, right, is let's say if you got a bit of structure and market is consolidated, and then it breaks structure, but it isn't trending yet. Let's say now price is at 0.35%, much like what we saw today on gold as well, right? So we saw price on gold come down 0.35, and as price continues to move down, now we're gonna get towards 0.40%. So that's gonna be negative 0.40%. That typically forms like a kind of like psychological barrier, because if we can break this barrier over here, then price can continue to move down. And once we cross over to the other side, now we're gonna see ourselves being more bearish, right? But this will typically act as a form of psychological support, because you won't see it, there won't be any structure, but it's there. And the market does have a reaction off of it. So that's quite an important one to pay attention to too. But to wrap up the video over here, let's go ahead and look at just one more. Actually, let's go ahead and look at two more. So the other two that we tend to look at here is going to be known as, we have gaps, right, in the market. So let's say price is moving down, and then next candlestick opens up like this, and price continues to move down. Essentially, what we've created over here is going to be a gap. So if you're gonna see, candlesticks are gonna be usually attracted to this gap because it's creating some form of imbalance in the market, right? So that's gonna act as a magnet for price to come and fill that gap area. And this is both a physical and psychological form of support resistance, right? But this is gonna be an area that the market's gonna be attracted to. Now, another interesting thing tying into this as well is candle opens. So sometimes you're gonna notice to yourself that whenever you're in a trade, and let's say your trade is about to, let's say in this case, price is moving down and you took a sell, right? You took a sell and your trade is about to hit some sort of, let's say your TP. Your take profit is right over here. So this is one I like to call like a psychological, right? So what I like to do is, let's say I've already secured some partials and price is moving like this, and I wanna leave a runner. So my TP here is gonna be for the runner, or even sometimes, let's say that's my actual TP, but I know the next candlestick, the 5 minute, let's say this is a 5 minute time frame, right? This is a 5 minute time frame. And this candle here, it's about to close right next to my TP area, right? So what sometimes I would do is I would secure something here, because what happens, that candle close also acts as a form of psychological support resistance, right? Because in this scenario, as price is coming down, when the next candle opens, what you're gonna see is maybe some kind of a strong reaction. And then you're gonna get the next candlestick kind of like pop up like this, and you're gonna be like, damn, man, I nearly got my take profit hit, you know, but it just rejected that zone. And then you see candles start coming back up towards your entries. Now, how many of you have had this happen to you before? You know, leave a like on this video if you have or you haven't, because this is something that's going to happen to you, right? A lot of the time, TP might almost get hit, boom, new candle opens, next direction, right? You're gonna see it also happen. This tends to also happen on 5 minute. I tend to look at it because I'm a lower time frame trader. It also happens on the hourly candles. So for majority of people, they wanna focus on the hourly candles, because if you're in a trade and an hourly candlestick is opening up, there's a high chance that hourly might do something like this, because it might have to create the hourly highs before it creates the hourly lows. So these are little stones that are gonna help you move the mountain. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a like down below, and I will see you in the next one. Adios. Good luck.